Alright, busy day. But making a video because I gotta walk anyway. So I was thinking of exploring this damn ear infection again. Head's vibrating. Anyway, and so yeah, I was thinking about this subject, this idea of fate. Okay, and I could, I could choose different paths here. I could do different things. I could just stop. Okay, and I could spin around. And there's probably a fate consequence to that. I'll show up at work a few seconds later. It'll change things, and it could change things dramatically. And that's the world we live in. Is I don't get to see the consequences, so I can't choose a path based on knowledge of consequence. I can only do based on knowledge of that's probably not going to work. So if I'm going out to enhance somebody's life, I could say, well, it's probably not a good thing to, irradiate them. Have a nuclear power plant melt down and they get irradiated and die. It's probably not in their best interest. But I can't be sure because the fact is they might have sucked. They might have had kids, and frankly, they were just turning their kids into basket cases. And emotionally, mentally abusing them, and their kids are going to be so much better off if the guy's dead. And so there's this, inadvertent positive to being dead. Like I could die right now, heart. I got a bad heart. I could drop dead any moment, or I could worse. I could have some sort of attack of some kind, end up with a seizure of some kind, end up in a hospital, not completely brain dead, but just enough for the hospital to say it has a right to keep me alive. And, my family would try to get me killed, but, they couldn't get it done because the hospital's saying they have a right and they'd have a whole big legal battle over it. And so even though I, have knowledge of this risk I'm facing, I can't do anything about it. It's really hard to mitigate against, short of killing yourself before you have a heart attack or a seizure or some other kind of thing. So, there's no defense against it except for some kind of fail-safe defense, which is just kill yourself before something horrible happens to you. And that's definitely something that's rolled through my head a few million times, is this idea that, well, Gary, you're pushing your luck. You should have got out of here 30 years ago. What are you still doing here? Prospects aren't looking that good. You're risking, horrible, getting Lyme disease for the 5th time. You're risking exposure to these unpleasantnesses that are sitting out there waiting to fall on you. The fate thing, the knives, the swords of Damocles are hanging over us. The swords of Damocles. Let's talk about the swords of Damocles. Another reason I love Tomb Raider as a game. There's actually a room that was the swords of Damocles, and it wasn't a great room, but it was too easy. But just the idea of it, the visualization, was really good. Well, frankly, they could have done it better. I just like that it was in the game. They had a lot of stuff from high-brained places. Anyway. So just that concept, of this idea that we're just sitting here and we don't know what pianos are, could be a bear sleeping right up here. And I'm going to disturb him. He's going to be irritable and wipe my face off. We're just walking into this vulnerability all the time. And, the point I've been making in videos is that we can rationally know some of the jeopardy. Some of these lottery tickets we can avoid buying. Some of this bad news we can avoid. We can kind of know it's bad news almost all of the time. So the drunk driving example is kind of the bushes are moving, see? Could be a bear. Ooh, look, it's a jumping bear. No. Yeah, some of this stuff we can know, like the drunk driving thing, you can just know there's no way this is worth it. It's got to be, even though you kill some lousy fathers and mothers and You kill some kids before they're going to be horribly tortured by their parents anyway, or life. They're going to get cancer anyway, so it's better they die in a car crash. This is quick, instantaneous, flaming death, and they're probably better off. Their reality would have sucked, and they're better off dead, as stupid as that sounds. I mean, you could argue some of the people in the 9/11 thing, it's a nice way to die. I mean, plane blowing up, you're dead really quick. And maybe some of these people, they would have had cancer. Or they would have got, toad disease. Yeah, I don't think there is any toad. He's a cute little toad. Cute. I'm cute. I'm cute. Look how cute I am. I'm awfully cute. I'm cute. I'm cute. He is cute. Anyway, I have to agree with him. I'm gonna wipe the toad cancer off me. So yeah, you're sitting there saying you're going to get toad cancer. You're fucked, and you're better off just getting blown up without even knowing what happened, barely knowing anyway. Shit, yeah, that's the game. Can't lose that way. And obviously there'd be the reverse scenario where somebody was just about ready to cure cancer and they got killed, and now we're fucked. But we can't know all of this stuff. So there's things we can't know, and there's things we can know. And it is a weird mix. And I tend to, sloppily in my own language, I'll talk about saving somebody. And as I've stated, you don't really save somebody's life, you prolong somebody's life. And the question is, are they living a productive enough life for it to be worth saving, worth preserving, worth prolonging? And these are always valid questions to be asked. But we're all very intimidated by going there, because everybody's going to start yelling and screaming, you're bigoted against the disabled, you're bigoted against old people, you're bigoted against fat, useless morons. Well, it's not a bigotry, it's a statement of fact that we're all consumers. And if it costs $1.5 million to maintain your existence per year, you sort of have to account for that in the reality that, $1.5 million will prolong, 1,000 lives in Africa. And that's just a fact. So you're basically saying you're worth it. You're better than those 1,000 Africans. You're going to do more productive fat oozing, stench making. It's going to be so brilliant that there's no way you're not cooler than those 1,000 dead Africans. And that, logically we got to ask these questions. We got to be pragmatic and practical. They're not, this is the job of philosophers, is to have the balls to step up to the plate and say, yeah, let's swing at this shit. You can't keep walking out of the batter's box saying, I don't know, I don't want somebody to call me a bigot, I'm afraid. No, you're going to have the balls. Anyway, that's not really the subject, but this fate thing is interesting. I'm just saying this, and the idea of the difficulty of many of the circumstances. Like I said, I can't know for sure if I'm doing any good or if I'm just making a mess. All I can do is run models in my head of how it's possible that I'm failing catastrophically. Somehow preventing somebody from having a kid would be a total disaster, which I can't really imagine. Or the converse. Like I said, it sort of seems to me that, from running the model, that you can't lose, in preventing a victim. That putting somebody in front of the swords of Damocles, when you know that all they're going to do is gratify the same old. It's just going to be the same old gratifications all over again. We've been there and done that. We've played this game a gazillion times, and it's really not that interesting a game to justify the walk, through the swords, the walk, through whatever, the pianos of Damocles, what might be even better metaphor, the dangling pianos. Even this walk is like that because there's a couple of big old oak trees here, and I always kind of walk a little faster when I go under them, just because oaks are notorious killers. they're murderers. But they just drop, 2-ton limbs will come out of them without even a crack. I mean, you won't even hear anything. It just falls and you're dead. Where these other trees usually will splinter and crack and pop. So you have some chance to evade disaster. But anyway, it's sort of, the metaphor is kind of tied to this path in a way. But anyway, because every now and then you'll see one of the big old branches down on the path, and he was saying, yeah, it was just a matter of time. If I didn't spin around back there, I would have walked right into that fucker. That kind of thing. And it's the truth. This is how we live in our lives, in this reckless, sloppy manner. And everybody's just saying, "Oh, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. Just don't take it seriously. Don't think about it. Don't just keep your eye on the path. Don't think about the swords. Don't think about it. Don't think about it. Don't think about it. Don't think about it." And yeah, obviously, I'm arguing that there's no point in me having a brain if I'm not supposed to think. What's the point? I mean, why didn't you just feed me lead paint as a child, kill my brain, and make me an imbecile who just keeps his eye on the ground and says, pretty rock, pet the rock, friendly rock. Friend, be my friend, rock. Will you be my friend, rock? Will you be my friend? Will you be my friend? Friend. Probably got poo on it. Anyway, rock's always playing in poo. Anyway, separate subject. Rock behavior. So where was I? That's always another tricky question, isn't it? Where am I? What am I doing here? But anyway. So the logic here is that what we do know is, like I said, that we're just this feeding machine. We know that there's a ton of these pianos we can't do much about. There are a ton that we can do something about. It's like 50-50, let's say. I just make up that number, but some of them we can knock them down before somebody gets there by having a little bit of ethics about how we build nuclear power plants, some ethics about food safety. We can knock some of these pianos down by applying our judgment, exercising responsibility, not selling our kids into slavery. These are things that are likely to be life enhancers. It's not to risk somebody else's welfare, live on hope and wish and that kind of crap, but be more pragmatic and realize that you have to pay for a paved road, you have to pay for a reliable bridge, you have to pay to have things that are durable and dependable. That they're not free, they're not cheap. You do it on the cheap, and you'll pay for that in the end. In the long run, in the future, will pay for your convenience and your recklessness. And so that part of fate we know. That's the part we're creating. You could argue in some respects we're tying pianos in front of the future, the path they have to walk on. We're taking the pianos off of ourselves. We're saying, take the pianos that are hanging here. This is the oak tree that's the worst. And move them forward. Move them out there so they can't get to me. Look how rotten it is. Yeah, it's going to kill somebody. Probably me. Oh, that's right, I want to die. But I don't want to die from a tree. I don't want to get killed by a tree. Fuck. I don't want to get killed by anything. I just want to slowly, like a good soldier, fade away. I really just want to fade away. Just snap my fingers and 30 seconds or so I'm invisible. Something like that. Well, anyway. Yeah, it's just, but like I said, that's what we're doing. We're taking the pianos that are hanging over us, and they're like on sliders, and we're just pushing them into the future. Just push them away. I don't like it. I don't like this hanging over my head. So I just push it forward. I'll kick the can, and I won't fix things. I'll just kick the garbage into the future and force them to eat it. Or to find some way to kick it. And we kind of know that there's an end to that. Great Depression sort of illustrate those ends, where it starts to get all tangled up. Everything starts to compress, and you get too heavy a load hanging on the future, and all the pianos fall. Every fucking one of them falls. You just smash everything. That was a pretty good metaphor. But yeah, that's what we've done. And we know that's stupid. But I think more practically, the stupider thing is to keep making these things that are walking in a foolish path. A path that is just dangerous and can't do anything new. It's just going to keep feeding a need that doesn't need to exist. Feeding a need that doesn't need to exist. Feeding a need that doesn't need to exist. Yeah, there's no fire to put out. There's no need to create any victims. There's absolutely no justification for victim creation, because you're not doing anything special enough. It's just the truth. Admit it, deal with it responsibly, and quit pushing the pianos into the future. You bastards. Okay, enough said. Probably mostly. Lovely day. It's gonna be hot, 90. Good. Sort of, mostly. Except my sister's visiting. My sister, one of them. I don't like visitors. I like my sister, but I just don't like visitors. Yeah. Till next time and such.